Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and welcome back to the recast. This week, I am not joined, as always, by Monsters Review. Monsters had something that is very important that he had to take care of. Unfortunately, sometimes real life gets in the way. We do the podcast mostly for fun. You know, this isn't a job for us, although we do very much care about you guys. Monsters had something he really could not put off taking care of, so he had to take a leave of absence. He will be back. I don't know when. And we would both appreciate if you guys could just kind of respect that and not ask too many questions because personal lives, yo. So with that, I am joined by the other guy that's on this podcast a lot, Shadowstreak.
Hey, how's it going?
And we have a very abbreviated cast this week. We were actually not even going to do one, but at the last minute, we decided, you know what, why not? We want to cram in as much spook as we can into Spooktober. So here we are. We don't have a rotating segment, but we do have Scooby-Doo and Batman to talk about. Two ideas that are just closely intertwined. I mean, they're both detectives, technically.
Yeah, so of course, it makes perfect sense.
Right, both owned by WB. That's the most important thing. So, yeah, we got those to talk about. But first, how are you doing, Shadow?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm doing really well, honestly. I've had a good week so far. Not much has really been going on with me. I mean, technically, our Pokemon series just came out, so that's pretty cool. I'm really excited to finally have that out and let people see what we've been working on for over 2 months now. I think we started this in July when we.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, no, there's a link in the description. Pieguy Plays is the YouTube channel, and there you can watch every other day. We've got hour-long Pokemon videos. So yeah, where we play with some crazy hacked Pokemon.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and we've got more in the works as well. So it's not just going to stop with the first one we're doing. So
absolutely. So since Monsters isn't here, Shadow, I do need you to do a few things for me.
Okay.
At certain points in this podcast, I need you to mention Camp Laszlo.
Okay. Okay.
If you could somehow work in that you love mid-2000s cartoons, that you haven't seen anything from after the year 2008, and something DVD shelf. Okay, just if you can naturally work those into the conversation, that would help me in this time, because I there are certain things that the audience and me expect, and I need to be interrupted with random Camp Laszlo trivia. So thank you.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
We have a Discord server. It's over on Discord. It's a Discord server. Join it. Talk to us. Do it.
Yeah.
Monster's just the one that always comes up with the corrections and observations. So since he's not here, I'm just gonna say we got everything in the last podcast absolutely correct.
Good assumption.
All right. Well, this is strange, but this is not the first time we haven't had a rotating segment. We skipped it with Steven Universe, actually, I think, right? Yeah, we did the last time you were on. But this is a rare occurrence still that we're jumping right into the discussion.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we are going to be talking about the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair from the new Scooby-Doo movies, and What a Night for a Dark Night from Scooby-Doo and Guess Who? Scooby-Doo Guess Who?
Yeah, Scooby-Doo and Guess Who.
And Guess Who.
Yes.
What?
The and is very important.
But this doesn't grammatically, it rhymes.
I think what they're doing is they're planning for a future series where they call it Scooby-Doo Guess Who, so they put the and in there to be well, this is a smaller thing, so we want the bigger series to have the better title later on. That's probably what they're doing.
Okay, sure.
All right, so when Scooby-Doo Guess Who comes out in 2040, I called it 20 years prior. Just saying.
Well, I don't know if it'll take 20 years because we had Be Cool Scooby-Doo 2 years ago.
You're not wrong.
So the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair is the first Scooby-Doo Batman crossover. The very next episode is another crossover with Batman and Scooby-Doo that, spoilers, also has Penguin and the Joker. With the exact same characters 1 episode later. That's probably a much worse case of rehashing, but I thought it would be more interesting to compare it to the new episode, because the Guess Who episode aired like last week. So the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair is about the Scooby Gang just randomly running into Batman and Robin, and the Joker and Penguin are smuggling money and trapping Batman and Robin into a funhouse thing, and the Scooby Gang has to help, and then there's a house that rotates.
Yep, that's how it works. Yep.
So the new Scooby-Doo movies was, I believe, the second Scooby-Doo series. It was the one that was, this is like the 70s still. This was the follow-up to the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? I don't like the new Scooby movies. I'm gonna be completely honest, especially from this episode. Who thought 40 minutes was an appropriate runtime for Scooby-Doo?
I don't know.
Did you feel like this was something that needed 40 minutes to tell?
Absolutely not. There were a number of scenes that could have been completely removed, and it's like, okay, well, this could have been like a 22-minute like episode instead. Like,
it's, oh god, the structure of this is like obnoxious, because it's like, first of all, so the Scooby Gang are driving on the road, okay, as they usually are. Mm-hmm. And they're going to go to some sort of convention that they never get to or talk about ever again. And then, like, they see an airplane landing, and then they're just like, well, this is a mysterious airplane. Because it doesn't have lights on or something. Like they just immediately insert themselves into something going on. There's not really like a lead up or a build up or an intro. It's really just they're driving, and then they're like, oh, there's a plane landing. Let's go see what that's about. And then they just trespass in this lady's home. Spoilers for something that's like 30 years old, but the old lady turns out to be the true villain who the Joker and the Penguin were working for. Some random old lady. Ooh. But if this had just been a random old lady, like, gee, man, she had two gangsters, a gang of teenagers, and Batman and Robin just break into her home randomly one night. Like, that would be pretty unlucky. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, the 40-minute thing, it's like, not only is there not really an intro, like, you would think that you could maybe take your time with it, but like, so much of it is padded out with the same Scooby-Doo cliches that were in the 22-minute version of the show, but like longer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, you like Scooby-Doo chase scenes? How about like 15-minute sequences at a time of Scooby-Doo chase scenes that are prompted by like nothing, basically?
Yeah, seriously. How many are there? Are there like 3 different times where it happens? Because it's like, what? It's the junkyard, kind of. Yeah. And then there's the whole bit in the middle with, the Joker and the Penguin.
The fun
and
house.
And then there's the end where they're in the warehouse.
Well, there's like, so Batman and Robin go in the fun house, and that's kind of a, one, I don't know if I'd say a chase scene, but that's like a sequence. Mm-hmm. And then we see the Scooby Gang go in the same fun house.
Yeah.
And that's a long sequence. And then, yeah, there's that last one at the, wherever they were.
It was just like some warehouse underneath the ground. Like,
yeah. Like that is like ungodly long. Like, yeah, especially considering Batman and Robin are there too, like, mm-hmm. a part of it. By the way, they're chasing an old lady.
Yes, like a genuine old lady. She's not in a disguise or anything. She's
got a mask. Well, but there's no like robotics or like anything that help her. Mm-hmm. Just...
Yep.
Yeah.
You can tell it's from a different time.
You want to talk about how Batman and Robin are introduced in this? So again, the Scooby Gang goes into this old lady's house, and they're like, look, a crate, let's try to pry into it. They're investigating, and then someone mysterious is at the door. Ooh. And it's Batman and Robin. They took the front door, and Daphne's line is, it's Batman and Robin. And then that's followed up by Fred saying, what are you doing here?
It's just like, what?
Okay, like, in a world where Batman and Robin exists, you'd still be pretty surprised to see them, mm-hmm. and maybe, like, excited? Like, just, it's Batman and Robin. That's the whole thing. Oh, God. Listen, I didn't expect much out of this. I really didn't. But I expected it to be more of like an Adam West, like super campy and funny Batman. But instead, it's just a boring Batman. This is like the worst Batman that I have ever seen. He's not funny. He's not like a parody. He's not serious. He's not like good at detectiving or good at any sort of ability. He's just bad at everything and requires the Scooby Gang to rescue him like twice.
So I don't know if you know, I didn't do any research, but so this is obviously Hanna Barbera, and Hanna Barbera also made other DC shows. Is this like the same Batman as like what, Super Friends, or is this like a different incarnation of Batman from like those? Because if it's like Super Friends Batman, which I've never seen that show, so I wouldn't know, but if it's like that, I could believe it, because I barely ever hear anything good about Super Friends.
I wish I could tell you.
Yeah, he was very boring. He's just very like blah. He's here, he's a guy.
He like asks for like Fred's second opinion on like a clue or something, and it's like the world's greatest detective. I know the Scooby Gang has a pretty good like repartee, I guess, but like you're asking like what?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
It
seemed kind of weird. Like he didn't figure out. It didn't feel like he figured out like anything other than it's like, oh, the Joker's behind this. But even then, Scooby pointed that out first. So it's like, I don't know. I'm like, the thing is, it's weird because Adam West Batman was. What year did this special come out again?
This was 70.
So Adam West Batman would have been a thing.
72.
Yeah. So like
Adam West Batman predates this by a decade.
Yeah. So
why
didn't you
get Adam West?
Yeah, and that's
like,
that's what I'm saying is like, sure, maybe because of the time, the dark and brooding, stoic Batman that we know today from either Christopher Nolan or the Arkham games or something like that. Sure, maybe that wasn't a thing yet. But you have Adam West Batman. Why didn't they take some inspiration from that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of understand because it was a different era. So like I am lenient on some things, but like it does not hold up today. It doesn't.
There's nothing at all.
No.
And what about Robin? Like what does he do?
He climbs that crane.
Right.
And that's it. That's all I remember him doing. He just climbs
and he
crane.
loses a fight to an old lady.
Oh yeah, that's true. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Robin's always been the sidekick, though, so,
Yeah, but, like, if he's gonna be in it, at least have him do so. He didn't have to be in it, right? It could have just been meets Batman. And I love how, so Batman, the reason why he knew what was going on was because his Batmobile had a scope for planes without lights on,
I guess.
And he just traced it to wherever they were. I mean, we'd have no idea where they were. Also, I love how they go to the Batcave for like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
like
they make such a huge deal out of it. He's like, you can't know, put on the blindfolds. I'm going to drive your car for a bit. They drive in. They're like, hey, here's some snacks. All right, we're leaving. Bye. It's like, oh.
Here's a question, though. If Batman drove the mystery machine there, where was the Batmobile? How did they get, like...
Well, no, the whole reason why they did that is because the criminals took the Batmobile to drive away. And so they're like, we got to track it. And my question is, Batman, why don't you have a tracker on your utility belt? What are you doing? Why do you have to go back to the Batcave to find that thing? What if the mystery gang wasn't there? How do you get back?
He couldn't just call Alfred?
No, well...
like, even more low-tech than that. He couldn't just... Hey, Alfred, listen, this is can you check the radar in the Batcave? Like, this is so embarrassing, but my car got stolen.
Cell phones weren't a thing at the time, but, like, it's Batman.
This old lady doesn't have a phone? The old lady, like...
Well, the house had disappeared.
Oh,
so that's why they're like, yeah, because they went to the junkyard for literally no reason other than like, let's look at the junkyard. Oh, okay, we're going back now, and then it was just gone. It's just like, I don't know, for the world's greatest detective, if Scooby and the gang weren't there, he'd be kind of just like walking around gee, I didn't expect this.
Hypnotized?
Yeah, right. Oh, that whole thing. Oh my gosh, that was just funny. I laughed not with it but at it because it's like, what?
I mean, I did
Oh my
laugh
gosh.
at the Abe Lincoln wearing a turtleneck.
Oh,
just
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's like a good non sequitur that he was able to. The world's greatest detective. All right, the only reason he was able to know something was counterfeit was because Abe Lincoln was wearing a turtleneck. Like,
That's kind of like the stupid but funny it works. So yeah, that was good.
and that was an intentional joke, so I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Batman also says "holy retreads" at one point, referring to treads like tire marks. But I feel like that could be a new catchphrase for the recast going forward.
Holy retreads.
Yes, yes. I also want to point out this is a huge missed opportunity for not having Ace the Bat Hound. Like, it's Scooby Doo. I mean, maybe Batman could have brought him, and then like Scooby and him could do some banter or something. Oh, and when we talk about the tracking device that Batman has, it's a tracking bleeper.
Yep.
Do you ever want to hear Batman say the word bleeper? I'm not like censoring another word. No, he literally, not beeper, bleeper.
It bleeps. That was interesting.
But Batman just leaves such a non-impression in this whole thing, which is just so bizarre because it's like, how do you have Batman be a not interesting character? Whether you make him hammy, whether you make him overpowered, whether you make him dark and brooding, or however you do him, how do you have him be such a, like, how is he second fiddle to the Scooby Gang? I mean, I know it's a Scooby-Doo show. I know it's their show. But it's just kind of like, his personality is so pathetic and lame. Like, if you had never seen any other Batman material, you would think that he's just some weirdo that shows up in a costume. No, like, what would you possibly think? You'd be like, oh, a homeless person came in and started helping the Scooby Gang. Good for him. Like...
Way to go. You did it. Crazy senile man.
I mean, I will say, okay, here's another question. So the Joker was all right. I will say they at least they gave him a good laugh. He is hammy. That's good. Why is the Penguin in this? Why does this old lady need not one but two supervillains to smuggle counterfeit bill? Like, why the Penguin? How does any of this have anything to do with the Penguin? Like, the Joker, okay, at least they're smuggling it in, like, clowns. Like, I guess that's his MO, but it's just kind of...
I feel like Penguin was just there so Joker had someone to talk to. And that's just it. It's like, we need someone for the Joker to be with so he can, like, you know, maybe make some jokes. Like, I don't even remember any of the jokes, but I know there was one where I was like, okay, that's not bad. I don't remember it, but...
So the mystery element of this show disappears for a little while in this episode because at a certain point it's just revealed that it's the Joker and the Penguin because they stick their dumb goofy heads out the window.
And that's how they're like, oh my gosh, it's the Joker and the Penguin. Good eyes, Scooby.
Let's set the scene. So, okay, so someone steals the Batmobile. And they leave it at a Batman and Robin museum because that's the best place to hide it instead of, like, an actual hiding spot. Because no one's very smart at all in this. The Scooby Gang and Batman and Robin get there, and then literally Shaggy looks up. And it's just it's just the Penguin and the Joker sticking their dumb heads out the window, not moving, not saying anything. There's like a still shot of their heads there.
Oh, and it hangs on that shot for a long time. Like, I was like, are they like real? Are they statues? Like,
is this a misdirect?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, is this a mystery? No, they stuck their heads out because I mean, it's a trap, but it's like they could have also just
not revealed themselves and kept it a secret.
Right, and that would serve the mystery. I would have liked, it would have been better to have the mystery of which Batman villain is behind this mess. That would make a better mystery, but instead it's just them. And so for a while, it's just like, okay, well, the Penguin and the Joker are smuggling money. Fair enough. And then at a certain point, they're like, oh yeah, that disappearing house existed. Let's go check that out. And it's like, you wouldn't even think that there's some sort of mastermind behind this because it's the why does there need to be a mastermind controlling the Joker? Like,
I don't know.
has in any piece of media, has the Joker ever worked for anyone else? Like I mean, willingly teamed up with other villains maybe, but like worked directly for someone. Like someone approaches the Joker like, hey, I got a plan to smuggle money, and he's like, I'm listening. Like,
Good
I just They should have just renamed this. The Joker teams up with an old lady, like the dynamic Joker and old lady, and a bird guy affair.
Speaking of the old lady, because I wanted to say, the number one thing that bugged me about this special was like, okay, so as soon as the old lady showed up, I'm like, well, this is Scooby-Doo. All right, she's the villain.
So hang on. Can I just point out that as soon as the mystery element is reintroduced, there is no other character in this story unless you count the two unnamed cops that have no lines, or the two guys smuggling at the beginning who also have like no lines. And there is no one else in this entire story except the old lady that is already associated with the house. So
and that's the other thing, is like those two thugs at the very beginning, like we never see them again. They're there in the opening and they just disappear. And I was like,
they're not even dressed like the Joker's goons or something. They're just generic thugs.
And you know, it would have that whole idea would have been better if when we got to the Joker and Penguin scenes, they were dressed up as those guys messing with the gang, and then like they unmask him and it's like, oh, it's the Joker and the Penguin. You know, that would have been more interesting. But going back to the old lady, because I really wanted to say how much this bothered me. Not only was that predictable, but when she's running around with the mask, they didn't even change her outfit. She's wearing the exact same pink dress. Like, they didn't even change the color of her outfit. She's not wearing a different shroud over her head, or it's literally attached to her dress. It's the pink
Costumes
and purple
are hard,
thing.
Shadow. All right.
Look, if they can give Shaggy a red shirt, the least they could do is have changed her from pink to blue or something. Like, I don't know. That bugged me. I was like, look, you've already made it obvious. This is just like, how does because like I would understand, you know, okay, the gang can be dumb at times, whatever, the viewer's smarter, okay, make them feel good, but like in the context of the show, like in the diegetic world of the cartoon, she's in the same clothes. So the gang should realize that, because it's not like they don't see her. Fred literally sees her tackle him when he's in the crane. Like, it's not like he didn't notice it all.
Well, someone threw a mask on him.
He could have seen, but he totally saw it coming. So like, look, it's old. So again, things were a little different.
I give it a little pass for that, but it's like, this isn't the first Scooby-Doo series.
No.
Like, they have had time to... Why 40 minutes? I feel like I would be so much more appreciative of this if this was 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. You can cut so much of this out and still have it. But the problem is that, like, it's not... The mystery isn't great. Like, I mean, Scooby-Doo mysteries aren't usually like amazing or anything, but even for a Scooby-Doo mystery, this is just like really pathetic.
Right.
I will also say there is another intentional joke that I did laugh at. So I guess I can say that this is more jokes I laughed at than your usual Scooby-Doo episode, but it's also double the length, so I don't know. But the other one is when Shaggy flips the house, and I don't mean like he's on HGTV. I mean he accidentally flips a switch and flips the house upside down. Mm-hmm. His line is something like, wow, there's some pulleys in this tree. Mother Nature really goofed on this one. It's like... Mother Nature goofed up and put a pulley inside a tree. You got it, Shaggy. Good job. Oh, my lord. How about the fact that Batman has bat-shaped cookies for Scooby-Doo and Shaggy?
Right.
Alfred's not in this, by the way, so it's not like Alfred brings them. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that there's like a little oven down there, and Batman was like, okay, we'll track that, but first let me get you guys some cookies. Like,
bat cookies.
I mean, they're proprietary cookies, right? It's not like he's like, you know, Nabisco made these just for me.
Though I have to wonder, and they kind of hinted at this, but was the bat milk from Batman, or like legitimate bat milk?
Or is it just milk that Batman is trying to brand?
Yeah, like
cow milk.
No.
Well, bats are mammals.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I can't say I've ever seen a bat nipple though. So maybe
Batman's been shirtless before.
No, I've seen Batman's nipples. I just haven't seen an actual bat's nipples.
Well, you said bat nipples, so I only assumed.
Can I just like throw out that like Robin better hope that he doesn't have any like identifying moles on his legs, because he's just got like a lot of bare skin. Mm-hmm. If he had an identifying mole, or like he got some like identifying leg hair or something. Like, I feel like it'd be really easy to pinpoint who Robin is based on that alone. Just throwing that out there. The whole pantsless thing is just very strange. I'm glad they give Robin pants in most modern adaptations. I don't know how well Teen Titans would work if he wasn't wearing pants, but Lego Batman made fun of the awkwardness of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Again, it was a different time. Fashion was different back then. And that's like a legitimate thing. Male shorts were shorter back then. It's a real thing.
Did you like how they muzzled Scooby-Doo?
I did.
A split second.
Oh, that's another thing. There's like a few times where they bring up this like important like, oh my gosh, we have a problem. And then it's just resolved.
Well, yeah, because there's dogs barking. And then Batman's like, shut up that mutt.
And then Daphne's like, all right, Scoob, be quiet. And then she puts it around his mouth. And then they hear the sound from somewhere else. And, oh, I'm sorry, Scooby. Yeah, it's like
when does Scooby ever even bark aside from like maybe at like a cat or something? Like it's like, but yeah, I mean, yeah. To raise the other point, it's just like there's things like that just go nowhere. They're just brought up for one line, split second, and then solved. And it's just like you really are just padding this thing out as much as possible.
Yeah, it felt very, very padded for sure.
So did you like this?
Not really. No.
I did not either.
No, I wasn't fun. I watched it on ×2 speed. Like I had
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
way to hurt the integrity of the show.
Look,
Shadow.
I'm just saying, after the first like 5 minutes, I was like, this is so slow, and I still have 35 minutes to go. Let's go ×2 speed. So that's what I did.
Next up is What a Night for a Dark Night. From Scooby-Doo and Guess Who.
Heck yeah.
So the story in this one is that Daphne wants to have a reunion with her not quite Uncle Alfred. And so the Scooby Gang is driving to Gotham, and along the way they rent the Batmobile. And it turns out that Alfred has been kidnapped.
Dun, dun, dun.
And Batman is looking into it, as well as the Scooby Gang. And they go to like this abandoned mall and fight the bad guy, and Batman shows up, and yeah.
Yeah, I can say right off the bat, I like this way more. Way, way more.
That was a good pun.
Heck yeah. I've been waiting to say that all cast so far.
Okay.
No, I really like this episode. It actually, believe it or not, I am interested in seeing more episodes from this Scooby-Doo and Guess Who series because like I found this rather entertaining. You know, it felt very, typical Scooby-Doo. There's a mystery, they solve it. There's always a formula with this series. But, Batman for starters, it was really cool to see like super serious Batman interacting with the more like goofy, wacky Scooby Gang. Kind of seeing that play off of each other versus the boring, mediocre relationship that was in the previous special. I thought there were a decent number of jokes that hit with me. I thought the twist villain was kind of cool because like Man-Bat isn't a very popular Batman villain. So seeing like Man-Bat being chosen as like the star villain here was actually really cool because I remember in Batman the Animated Series, he's also the first villain that shows up in that series too. But outside of that, I can't really think of any time Man-Bat has been, significant. So for them to go for a less obvious villain was really cool.
Well, it makes sense.
It does.
Because it's a monster.
Right.
Like it's the sort of thing that the Scooby Gang, you like, it's not that unusual for them to be
exactly.
up against.
And that's exactly what I was about to say, is it really meshes with Scooby-Doo fighting, monsters and ghouls and stuff. Like the only other Batman villain I could think of that might work was Killer Croc, but
I was thinking Clayface. I thought it would be really funny to see them unmask and then just keep unmasking, and then there's just a pile of masks on the floor, and then it reforms into Clayface or something.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Listen. All I really have to say, I will say more, but all I really have to say is Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. Mm-hmm. They got them.
Yeah.
The other one couldn't even get Adam West, and trust me, at that time period, Adam West was doing anything. Mm-hmm. All right. Honestly, I'm not really like one that would go in and check out other episodes of the show just because I feel like the Batman stuff really sold me. I don't know that I'd feel as sold because a lot of the other guest stars, it seems, are just people like Kenan Thompson and Weird Al, which are fine. But like Batman brought like the whole, like it brought Gotham and the aesthetic. I thought the design of Batman actually looked more like the Batman, like the TV show The Batman.
Yeah.
Like and I know you get what I'm saying, but there was a TV show, all right, that came after Batman the Animated Series called The Batman, and it was on Kids WB in the early 2000s, and he was like, not as barrel-chested of a Batman, which is kind of like the design they went for here. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's just the design. But obviously other things were definitely drawn from the Batman the Animated Series, like Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, even the Joker's design, like the red aesthetic to Gotham, that's straight out of that series. I love that. Yeah, no, this to me 100% felt like, yeah, let's take grim and gritty, serious Batman, or as serious as you can have him in a Hanna Barbera cartoon, and contrast him with the goofy Scooby Gang. Have the Scooby Gang be an unwilling team up between them and Batman. Not have Batman be like, gee, I need these teenagers to help me solve this problem. No, it's that they're doing investigative work and they've uncovered something that Batman hasn't gotten to yet. And that's basically that. Batman is not pathetic in this episode. There's like a few jokes that kind of like, you know, like there's him trying to change out of his bat suit behind a bookshelf and Fred keeps pressing the button, like that make him look goofy, but it's more just the situation makes him look goofy versus Batman himself acting goofy. I love how the whole episode really combines the Scooby-Doo cliches with the Batman cliches, like okay, so a character grabbing one of the Scooby Gang and pulling them behind a bookshelf, like that's typical Scooby-Doo, one of the gang going missing.
Yep.
But instead combining it with a Batman takedown, essentially. You know, Batman's king of the silent takedown. So that's really cool.
You mentioned the bookcase thing. That was easily my favorite gag in the whole episode. I like, especially when like Fred's just like rapidly pressing it. Batman just keeps chucking the batarangs to hit the button. That gave me a smile. And then also at the end where Daphne and the Joker are talking about makeup and they're just like they're going like so ecstatic about talking, and everyone else is just like, "Yep, this is happening." Like
it's like. The mystery itself definitely kept me wondering because I feel kind of stupid because it should be more obvious with the lipstick, but you know the Joker's had many different designs, so like I guess that's like there's a connection, but it's kind of a cartoony connection, which is what Scooby-Doo is all about, and what more modern Scooby-Doo series are all about making fun of, like the whole like, oh well, I had pulley systems. It's like that's just like Scooby-Doo cliche that they're just completely taking the joke at, you know, like they're just completely hand waving. So I feel like it's a mystery that does make sense, but is also just kind of insane enough that you couldn't you couldn't reasonably know who it was. You could have taken a guess, certainly, but the way this series is, it could have been any character basically.
Yeah, and another thing I appreciated about this episode is halfway through, Batman goes to the asylum. I guess it was the asylum.
Yeah, it was Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure before I said generic prison.
Where else is he gonna go?
Exactly. You know, I just wanted to make sure. And he goes and he actually sees the real Man-Bat. So it's like, it shows us, it's like, okay, so this isn't the real Man-Bat. So in Scooby-Doo fashion, there is someone behind it, but so it kind of like played on, both. And I also really loved how the Man-Bat, as Batman like shows up, he like transforms and gets all rabid, and then Batman leaves. He's like, okay, bye Batman. Thanks for coming.
Yep. Yeah. Lots of little cameos in the back of that too. The puppeteer guy.
Yep.
I liked when Batman just like leaped 50 feet in front of Scooby and Shaggy to scare them. Like he just like does this completely impossible jump over them in a very like Hanna Barbera-y way. And I like Scooby trying to like do a Batman impression, like, it was really scary, guys. Like,
I'm Batman. I'm the Knight.
Oh, and do I need to say this is 22 minutes, thankfully.
Yes. And it works so much better for that.
God, yes. I like the chase sequence in this, too. It was really, it's pretty cool.
Yep.
I think. Over the course of Scooby-Doo, a lot of times they'll try to tie the Scooby Gang into the characters they're going to visit. Like, it'll be, like, Fred's uncle or Daphne's aunt. Like just random family members.
Polo player.
Right. So in this one, they really, like, completely joke on that because it's like Daphne's like, yeah, he's my Uncle Alfred, and they're like, wow, your Alfred, your uncle is this butler guy, and she's like, well, I mean, he played polo with my dad and he did this and that, but we call him uncle sometimes. And so for like the rest of the episode, they're just like, Daphne's kind of sort of uncle. I also love how Bruce Wayne does not come to dinner at the end.
Yeah,
he's just kind of sick of them at this point. Also, there's like a really neat painting behind Alfred of young Bruce with his parents, but you can't see his parents' heads. That's just like nice little minor detail. Was this the best thing ever? No, but I feel like it really, really did a great job of paying homage to Batman, and of blending those two things instead of it feeling like here's a generic Scooby-Doo episode where it's just some guy dressed up as Batman, which is really what the other one felt like. This one feels like it is the Batman that is kind of thrown into the Scooby-Doo caper. There's also another good joke about towards the end where Batman is just having this over-the-top fight with Man-Bat, and he's just tumbling around with them, but the focus is on Scooby and Shaggy trying to desperately avoid the fight. Yeah. And everywhere they go, the Batman and Man-Bat Joker are just like tumbling through and everything. Also, the Joker wore multiple masks. just for no reason, for the dumb fake ad at the end, because always, every time, if you want to be a Scooby-Doo satire, you got to do like a multiple mask bit. I was getting really sweaty in in those things. Like, yeah, so I feel like this really nailed it in a way that the other one completely missed entirely. If the Scooby Gang did more fictional crossover type stuff in Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, I would be more interested in seeing that. Maybe they do.
I know there is another episode where Wonder Woman shows up, but that's not a DC character.
That is very true. Also, I guess we should also just mention there is a Batman Brave and the Bold episode where Scooby appears. Actually, I think it's like a TV movie or something. It's like a direct-to-DVD thing. I don't know. But it would kind of be interesting to see like the other way around, where it being a Batman show, because weirdly enough, Brave and the Bold was a show with Batman teaming up with like random people. I guess mostly heroes, not just random people, but that's what the new Scooby-Doo movies was about. And also that's what Guess Who is about. Like, if you don't know, Guess Who is a throwback to the new Scooby-Doo movies, because that whole gimmick was Scooby-Doo and the Addams Family, or Scooby-Doo and Don Knotts, whoever that is. I have no idea. It's some celebrity from olden days. But which honestly you could say is like probably one of the most early examples of like the gimmicky guest star cartoon.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't even really think of that many older cartoons that did that, because celebrities were expensive. But it just kind of shows you how big a phenomenon Scooby-Doo was. Even by only its like second or third series, it was still a very, very big deal. That's about all I have to say about both of these.
Yeah, honestly, same here. I definitely liked the Guess Who episode way more. And that's my final verdict.
Yeah, same. I feel like the Guess Who episode did everything better. The integration between Batman and Scooby-Doo type stuff, Batman himself. Like I maybe mentioned more jokes in the new Scooby-Doo, but that's only because it's double the length. I definitely thought that the jokes were funnier in Guess Who. You know, and I think that it really it did a great job of this is how it should be done, really. When it comes to a more serious character in a comedy show, you want to keep that character serious, but have the jokes be about like the logistics of it, like the logistics of Batman being able to hold so many things in his utility belt or something like that. You know what I mean? Like jokes about, not that they make that joke, but just like jokes about the logistics of Batman that don't make Batman himself any less cool. Because at the end of the day, Batman should be cool, whether he's goofy or he's serious or whatever. He should be a cool character, and the new Scooby-Doo movies just sucks all the cool out of him. Whereas What a Night for a Dark Knight really does feel like wow, this is Batman the Animated Series is Batman, really. And I mean, even the voice acting, again, like you cannot beat Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill for these characters, in my opinion. I know there's live action adaptations that do like contend, but in terms of animation, it's like these are the voices, and they're kind of semi-retired. They go in and out of doing these roles. They keep saying they're gonna stop, but and I'm not saying no one else will ever be able to be as good as them or anything like that, but it's just like, if you could get these guys, you got them. It's just like, for years, it's like, if you want the comedy Batman, or even a Batman type like Catman from the Fairly Odd Parents, you want Adam West. So yeah, so if you're, I think if you're someone, I've talked about it, but I'm not super into Scooby-Doo. I find it very formulaic, obviously. But if you are someone who is into Scooby-Doo, judging from what we saw, this does seem to be a pretty solid version of Scooby-Doo, and it does seem like one that actually at least wants to put a different hook in. Even though it's a hook they did like 40 years ago, it still is better than like, let's just do another Scooby-Doo where there's no gimmick. It's just more throwback to Scooby-Doo.
And likewise, I haven't seen any Scooby-Doo past the mid-2000s, so like, all I can really say is this was a pleasant surprise. I don't know if I'll check out the other episodes. I kind of want to, though, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'll see if I have the time.
Shadow, do we have any viewer comments?
Okay, yeah, we do have one from a guy named Crystal. They said, I enjoyed the Guess Who episode a lot more than the first Batman episode from the new Scooby-Doo movies. While both episodes are pretty standard fare for Scooby-Doo, I think the dynamic Scooby-Doo affair lacks a lot of the charm that early Scooby-Doo can bring due to being stretched out to 40 minutes. There were some ironically enjoyable moments, but they were few and far between. From what I've seen of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, the Batman episode does live up to the enjoyment I've had from it. The episode was pretty hilarious, from the jokes about Batman's secret identity to how loosely Daphne is connected to Alfred. However, I do think that a lot of my enjoyment of the Guess Who episode derived from the performance of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill at the end, and the jokes and Easter eggs that are made for Batman fans. But I would wholeheartedly recommend it for any Batman fan who's into the character's vast history of animation.
Very well said. I agree with all of that.
100%.
And I think Crystal really does kind of nail it in that one of the things I did not get from the dynamic Scooby affair was charm. Like that's the thing. A lot of old Scooby-Doo is like nostalgic or like has something to it that draws you in. That just didn't.
No.
Yeah, it might be the 40-minute runtime just kind of wears on the nerves. Not the nerves, but wears on my patience.
Yeah.
I felt attachment to the Guess Who episode mostly because of Batman. Not that I didn't like the Scooby-Doo stuff, but if it wasn't Batman, I wouldn't have really been interested in the episode. So I can tell you that from like a purely Batman perspective, it's not like the greatest Batman episode of all time, but if you are a Batman fan and you do want to see something a little different, like I can certainly recommend it. And it's worth noting that both of these episodes, as well as everything Scooby-Doo, basically is on the Boomerang streaming service that I talk about in a not very high light. But what's worth noting about that is that not only is there a Boomerang free trial that you can try out, but on Amazon, there's all these different channels that they have now that you can subscribe to for extra money, but each one of them offers a 1-week free trial, and you can cancel the subscription right away. So if you do have any interest in this stuff, check out the Amazon channels and then just cancel them right away. Mm-hmm. You'll probably get as much Scooby-Doo as you could need in a week. I would be completely honest with you. All right. Well, for the first time ever, Shadow Streak, you're going to do trivia.
Yes, I am. All right. So the way I decided to do this is I picked 6 episode synopses that all sounded really interesting regarding Scooby-Doo over the years. Now, I didn't pick like stuff from the obscure series. So basically, each of these series that these episodes would be from. So you do have a fair shot of naming which one it is. Okay. The season doesn't matter. The title doesn't matter. Just, based off the synopsis, guess which series it's from, ranging from the original all the way up to Guess Who. It could be any series in between, but it's not going to be something like Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. Don't worry.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay.
These are all ones you'll be able to name. So
how many prompts we got?
I picked 6. So
okie doke.
All right. So the first one. The kids' beach party is interrupted by a ghost in a glowing deep-sea diving suit, who they think is connected with the disappearance of several yachts. The mystery leads the gang to a bay known as the Graveyard of Ships, where they have a run-in with the ghost.
Okay, well, I know there's a deep-sea dude in the original Scooby-Doo, so it's either Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, or it's like a take on that. Sometimes they do throwback episodes with similar villains. So I'm just going to go ahead and guess Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Okay, that is correct. And
yeah.
The reason I picked that episode is because it was my very first episode of Scooby-Doo anything.
How do you remember that?
Because I didn't get into Scooby-Doo until I was like 8 or 9, and I do have a memory of that. So.
Oh, you Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I mean, I had the DVD of the original run, and that was the first episode I picked to watch, so that's how. All right, second question. Scooby and Shaggy go to a summer camp to volunteer, unaware that the camp is haunted by a slimy creature known as the Toxic Terror. And no, Laszlo isn't there.
Is that written into the description?
That is going to be there as soon as I edit this Wikipedia page.
Can I get the actual description just one more time?
Yes. Scooby and Shaggy go to a summer camp to volunteer, unaware that the camp is haunted by a slimy creature known as the Toxic Terror.
Oh boy. Well, it only says Shaggy and Scooby. So oh god. Is it Shaggy and Scooby Doo get a clue?
Is that your final answer?
I hope it's not, but yeah.
No, it's What's New Scooby Doo.
Oh.
So yeah, you're 1 for 2. And the name of that episode is Camp Come On, I Want to Scare You. A play on weird camp names. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Come on, I want to. Okay.
Okay.
There's a very summer theme to this thus far.
Yes. Prompt number 3. When Fred invites the gang on his and Daphne's second date, it pushes Daphne into the arms of Oddnarb, the leader of an orc biker group called the Wild Brood who have come into town. When a break in the armory happens and a dangerous weapon is stolen, the Wild Brood are the top suspects. It is up to the gang to solve this mystery, save the Wild Brood, and find the imposter orc biker.
I'm sorry, did you say orc?
Orc. O-R-C. Orc.
Like the monster?
I don't know, I haven't seen this episode, but that's what it says.
Okay, I was thinking it might be Mystery Incorporated, but I don't think there were any orcs in that series. So, and that was a long description.
It's 3 sentences, which can be long, yeah.
All right, Mystery Incorporated?
That is correct.
Okay. Whew.
Yes, you are correct. You're 2 for 3.
Okay.
All right. Next up. When Johnny's elderly Aunt Jebediah Bravo, disappears, he enlists the help of Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, Fred, Daphne, and Velma to crack the case and capture a ghostly gardener, who turns out to be Aunt Jebediah, who is trying to scare Johnny away because she does not like him and considers him an embarrassment in the Bravo family.
Well, I'm pretty sure this isn't a part of any actual series. Is it coded to be a part of an actual series? The name of the episode is Bravo Doobie Doo.
Mm-hmm.
Is it actually? It's not a part of any series, unless it's a part of Johnny Bravo. What? Shadow?
You gotta come up with something. Give me an answer. This is a trick question. You tricked me with that Toy Story 2 voice actors. I'm tricking you with this.
Wow, that's a good memory. Is this what it feels like to be tricked?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think there was actually any Scooby-Doo series running when that special was out, because that was like... So I'm going to say Johnny Bravo.
All right, you're correct. Yes.
Oh my god.
It is coded as a Johnny Bravo episode, but...
Thank you.
Look, I had to reference it. I had
it's
to.
100% a classic. I have glasses. I can't see a thing without my glasses. My glasses. I can't be seen without my glasses.
Yeah. Yep. I had to.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
So you got that. You got that. 3 for 4.
All right.
All right. Question number 5. As Shaggy and Scooby are chosen as contestants on their favorite game show, the ghost of a gangster shows up.
You're reading this like an idiot, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume. I'm gonna go ahead and assume this one is Shaggy and Scooby Doo get a clue.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Incorrect. It is a pup named Scooby-Doo.
They went on a game show?
Apparently. And the villain is the ghost of Al Capone. So.
Oh, right. Yeah. Isn't it always?
Yeah, of course. I don't know why Al Capone wants to be on a game show, but sure.
Yeah. Are you sure the villain wasn't Teen Titans Go?
No. I almost thought it was Red Herring, but...
Well, that was only once, all right?
Yes.
The only thing you ever need to know about a pup named Scooby-Doo is that Freddy, in each episode, accuses a guy named Red Herring.
And he was actually right one time.
Yes. He's wrong in almost every other... Well, he's wrong in every other episode, but right exactly once.
Yep. All right, here we go. 4 for 5, final question.
I'm not 4 for 5. I got 2 wrong.
Wait. Oh, yeah, my bad. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it, Shadow?
No, it's not.
You sit there in the guest slot and you think, wow, I could do this. Anyone could run a podcast.
Look, this is my first time doing trivia. Cut me some slack.
No, you're fine.
All
You're
right.
doing a good job, buddy.
You're 3 for 5.
I'll treat you with the same amount of sarcasm as I treat monsters.
Okay, I suppose that's a fair compromise.
Mm-hmm.
You are 3 for 5. Final question.
Cool.
When a desperate Steve Urkel turns to the Mystery Inc. for help...
This is Scooby Doo and Guess Who.
Yes.
I was looking at the descriptions earlier, but go ahead and read the rest of the description.
When a desperate Steve Urkel turns to Mystery Inc. for help on tracking down his Urkelbot in Chicago, they stumble onto a deeper mystery with the appearance of the Technomancer, who has the ability to control all robots.
You know, that's another fictional character, so I think I'd watch that episode.
Yeah.
Would I watch that?
When was the last time Steve Urkel was like relevant in anything?
I don't know.
I don't either.
But the world knows of Steve Urkel, right?
True. Yes.
It's the best character that Jaleel White ever played, and I better not hear a reference to any other character that he has ever voiced.
Oh, you don't want me to reference Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus? He was in that movie. That movie's 10 out of 10. Great stuff. I'm saying this ironically.
That was trivia.
Yep. 4 out of 6. Good job.
Yeah. Thanks, Shadow. You did a good job.
Thank you.
I liked the curveball. Monsters would never have done that, so I'm glad someone tried to trick me once. All right. Well, next week on the recast, we are going to be going back to everyone's favorite show, SpongeBob SquarePants. And we are going to be talking about Scaredy Pants from Season 1 and The Legend of Boo-Kini Bottom from Season 11. These are both episodes that are Halloween episodes, and they're both about SpongeBob's scarediness. So join us for that. We'll probably be back next week, but on the off chance that we aren't, we'll be back the week after that. Thank you again, Shadow, for co-hosting this with me.
No problem.
All right. PIEGUYRULZ out.
Bye, guys.